That's Instagram, that one's YouTube. So you're filming, you're gonna put these up to YouTube then?
To automatically get uploaded once we stop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you
Hold
tweet
on.
about it.
And automatically goes to your Twitter.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just tweeted.
On top of
from
it,
your-
right? On top of it.
I love it. So, welcome to the Dr. Hockey Podcast. I'm Dr. Jay Calvert, and this is our podcast about hockey. I'm here today with Dr. Jason Berkeley, who is the most anti-Penguins fan that I know, and we are going to be talking a little bit
Then you-
about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
You must not know many people then.
I try not to.
Yeah.
It's better, given my history with the Pittsburgh Penguins, to not discuss it very
But like
much.
I said, I'm easing up on them lately because of how they reacted after the shooting, so I do have respect for them, and I don't hate them as much.
I did mention that to the owner of the team, as a matter of fact.
Did
which
you?
We'll talk about a little bit.
Okay, all right.
So,
Because you have a big story to tell.
I have a story to tell. I do wanna talk about my trip to Pittsburgh and meeting Mario Lemieux,
Yeah.
which was truly one of the most amazing hockey moments of my life, if not the most amazing.
Because I can only imagine how it would be if I met Yzerman or Fedorov. I might start crying. I don't know. I
You may
might.
not survive that, actually.
It would be tough.
It could be something that could be a life-ending experience.
I
for you, so
remember.
be careful.
I remember years ago, my friend's daughter played soccer on the same league, and I guess his daughter was on the opposite team, and they were. I was at my friend's daughter's game with my friend, and he was there with Chris Draper and their daughters were on the team, and I saw him and I said, I gotta say something. I got that nervous, sweaty feeling.
Did you start squealing like a little girl, like you do
No,
every time we talk
no.
about Yzerman coming out?
No, although it would have,
GM.
it could have blended in with the girls playing soccer if I did it.
Okay.
But I said, you
That's
know
true.
what, it's just, you know what, I opted not to bug him. It wasn't the appropriate venue to fawn all over him.
When has that ever stopped you?
Oh, I'm very good about that stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm very respectful of people. I
Just wanna
wouldn't,
make sure.
I have limits, even I have limits, trust me, yeah,
No, I figured that.
yeah, don't worry, I wouldn't never do anything inappropriate, but it was one of those things where I was like, please, let him just kinda like, hey buddy, can you come over here for a minute, or something, just call me over for something.
Like, let's go get a beer and talk about the Red
Yes,
Wings.
yeah,
Like, that
exactly.
might just come up at
Just
a,
random.
6-year-old.
Forget about this soccer game with my daughter, let's go, So, but, no, I've heard that he is also very, but anyway, I wanna okay, this is about you, this is your podcast, this is your show.
I just work here.
I wanna focus on you.
No, I don't wanna focus.
And get through talking
No, I
about the
don't.
Penguins without vomiting in my mouth.
All right, you'll be okay.
Okay.
I will tell you that the Penguins did deal a 4-0 loss to the Winnipeg Jets at that game.
Which is impressive,
Which is
considering the Jets are, potential
They're
cup
rolling,
contenders. Yeah,
absolutely.
they definitely picked it up, and I'm regretting my bet already.
You should, because I think the Penguins are gonna make the
No
playoffs.
chance we're gonna cancel the bet?
No,
They're in the
we
playoff
can't.
already, aren't they?
Well, not, they're wild card, they lost to
Are they
the
wild
Kings.
card now?
Lost to the Kings, they lost to, they
Lost
lost to
to
the Sharks
Kings.
last night, pretty big.
How did they lose to the
Shahab,
Kings?
Look how happy, look at that,
Very happy.
look at that.
How are you a
Kid's-
Sharks fan, Shab? I
I'm
don't,
from there.
He's from San Jose. He's
Yeah,
like a
but
real hockey fan.
not
dude.
real hockey, I don't know.
It is real hockey. Right now, by the way, the Sharks are a very
You going
good
home for
team.
the All-Star game?
No, I can't.
Can't?
No.
Okay.
I was
Sorry.
gonna go to the All-Star game, but then
Yeah.
the NHL denied my credential to be press at the All-Star game.
Oh, wait
Which
till
is
next
not
year.
shocking, because I figured this is how the meeting probably went. Because we got pretty deep in there. Lauren was like, she had this thing going. She's like, and then they were answering more questions. They were answering more questions. Well, what are you gonna talk about on your podcast, blah, blah, blah. And then I think at some point it got to like the committee chairman who's like, this guy's a plastic surgeon. You're really gonna give him an NHL credential to be a president? No!
In the immortal words of Timmy Lupus, just wait till next year.
That's right. Thank you very much. So anyway, I went
Yes.
to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I went there as a visiting professor to go give lectures to the residents of the UPMC about rhinoplasty, and we did a cadaver dissection lab. But as part of the deal, I said I would love to come to Pittsburgh, but there's going to need to be a hockey game involved. They said no problem. They went to the UPMC.
During the dissection?
Well, mostly before.
Oh,
is what I was
okay.
hoping. But
Mostly.
I mean, we could have done the cadaver
In
lab
between
again.
periods, maybe?
In the old days, we could have done it down in the igloo, but
Right.
this is the PPG Paints Arena, which is a really proper,
Okay.
amazing arena. So Friday night, and I brought my son and my daughter, my oldest son, my oldest daughter, with us. It was me, my wife, my son, my oldest daughter, and we're going down to the game, and I just said, I kind of texted somebody who remained nameless.
Yeah.
And I said, it would just be so cool to meet Mario. And they were like, oh my God, let me see if that can happen.
And did he say to you, it would be so cool if I could drive a Ferrari around?
No.
I mean,
Didn't
is
say
this
that.
like, okay.
No, and I just said like.
Or it would be
wouldn't
so
that be
cool
amazing?"
to date Emily Ratajkowski,
Yeah, that.
or
I did
just
say
other
that, yeah.
things that are in the ether that would be great to do.
Well, in the ether was, could I possibly meet Mario Lemieux?
Oh, okay.
And so they said, they made some calls and some texts and said, yeah, just go over after the first period and bang on the door and they'll be expecting you.
Just
And
bang
I was
on the
like-
door. Wow.
Okay.
Is there like a special knock you have to give?
I did get a special knock. And so anyway, my wife, my son and my daughter and I were heading over, and the chairman of the UPMC plastic surgery department, we were all in the UPMC suite, which is amazing. He's like, hey, you mind if I tag along? I know all the guys that are in the box there. I know the CEO, and I know, and he does, because he does a lot of work with them. He does facial trauma for the pens. So we walk over, and literally, like, the guy at the door is like, oh, you must be mistaken. This door is not for knocking. I said, well, they just told us to come over and knock on the door.
No,
He's
it told
like,
you to bang on the door.
yeah, so
Okay.
anyway, the guy outside, the security guy says, well, what's your name? And then he pokes his head in and he says, hey, there's a guy out here who wants to see you. And he's like, yeah, bring him in. Like, cool as a cucumber. Like, we all go in, even lets, the chairman in with us who, was not on the list basically, but they said, oh yeah, Peter, come on in. So we're all five of us are in there, and, we get to meet, like, there's Mario Lemieux.
No,
who's
okay,
like-
no, wait, back up a second, The moment you see the guy, because this is like your legend,
He is the legend.
He is,
That's
okay.
right.
he's your Eiserman, if you will. So,
I think he's a little more than that, but that's okay.
well, no,
I'm gonna
he's
go
your
with- I'm
Eiserman,
gonna go with
it's
it.
to you, it's, but isn't there like a moment, or a singular moment where you say, holy shit, like, I'm here? Or do you get like nervous as your heart starts pounding through your chest? I mean, what happens to you at that moment when you see him and there's no barrier between you and him?
Totally speechless. I was just like, great to meet you. I mean, I just didn't know what to do because I was
Kind of like how you are when I walk in the room?
It's a lot like that. It's a lot like that.
Now I can understand.
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
That's exactly.
Perfect.
I was thinking this is just like meeting Jason Berkeley.
Right,
So he was totally gracious. One thing I wasn't ready for
yeah.
is like, you may be a tall guy, but I think he's taller than you.
You think he's
I
6'?
literally had to crank my neck back to look at this guy.
You think
in
he's
the face.
6'8"?
I think he's gotta be 6'7". How tall are you?
I'm almost 6'7". I was 6'7" before I had my back surgery.
He's probably about your height then. I mean, cause he's so giant.
I'm like Fletch, I'm 6'6", 6'9" with the afro.
Nicest guy,
Yeah.
nicest guy on earth. His daughters were there who he'd met before, and his wife, who I had never met, when we met her, they were having some dinner, and I was like, we need to leave, like, I can't stay in here, like, we're intruding.
So what did you say to him? How
I
did
said,
the
it's so
conversation
nice,
go?
I said, hey, it's so great to meet you, this is the reason why we're here. He's like, oh yeah, it's great, we're so happy. He goes, would you guys like to take some pictures? First thing he says, he's like,
Wow.
offers up, like, let's get pictures with your whole
You
family.
weren't like Chris Farley on the show where you said, remember that game where you had that goal? And you weren't like that at all?
No,
Chris
but-
Farley show?
But I would love to do that with a guy like Mario Lemieux. It would be so funny.
That would be classic.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Remember that, right?
Hey, remember that time when you scored 5 goals, 5 different ways, like with a
Right.
penalty shot, and then like a 5-on-4, and that was cool.
Yeah.
that would be great.
You should.
But we didn't do that. We took pictures. My kids were like, my daughter was sort of just looking at him like she didn't really know what to make of him, because I had said, like, this is the owner of the team. So she thinks of Mario Lemieux as the owner of the
Right.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Right.
She doesn't think
Not
of him
one of
as
the greatest players of all time.
greatest player
Right.
of all time. She thinks of him as like, oh, he owns the team, like it's a big deal. So anyway, we take the photos. It's great. And I said, well, we're gonna head out. He goes, no. He goes, like, have a glass of wine. Let's hang out for a little bit. I was like, okay. And Peter Rubin, who's the
So basically, he wouldn't let you leave.
no, I didn't. I wasn't trying to leave. I was just trying to be polite. I was trying to
No,
like.
I mean, he
not
wasn't trying to get rid of you. He was actually trying to keep you
Not
there.
even close.
Wow.
He was very cool about it, and then we started talking about hockey, like for a good 20 minutes or so.
Wow.
Maybe it was 2 minutes, but it started talking about, well, you guys made some great trades, and he's like, yeah, you know, I said, you know, you got this Pedersen guy, you know, my wife and I sit at the Ducks games, and we've watched him, he's a great defenseman, he's gonna really help. I've always felt like that was, you know, something you guys needed, and great for Sprung to go to, you know, anyway, we're talking and
Yeah.
talking. And he's like, yeah, you know, we've got some other issues, and says everybody goes through these cap issues every year. I was like, well, it doesn't seem to be affecting the Penguins the way they're playing. He's like, well, you know these guys get older, and it's, every team has to go through it. So we were talking about the state of the NHL, and I met the CEO, and I don't know, it was just cool. And then I noticed my daughter was like FaceTiming her friends who were huge Penguins fans, like
Oh.
her little buddies. And I don't know whether or not he noticed, whether Mario noticed that she was on FaceTime or something, but he walked over and was like, you know, would you kids like to get something from the dessert cart? And like her friends were like, ah, you know, they just went crazy. They're like, oh my God, it's very good of you. Like, you know, I don't know whether he noticed.
Did he
or
ask
not,
if he was a
but-
waiter now or something? Or is
No,
that-
but he was just being
No.
so polite and so, like the
I'm
most
kidding.
gregarious, like easygoing guy. I mean, so down to earth, and it just was.
I've heard that about him, which is nice to see.
I mean, I can't even tell you.
The last thing you'd want to do, and it's happened to me with a couple people, and I'm not gonna say who in the past, but the last thing you want to do is whether it's a sports hero or a celebrity that you've admired from afar, that you finally get to meet them, and they're just a major asshole. That's
Well, I
that's,
can name a lot of those.
that's what I'm
people.
saying. That's a lot. It's a
Loads
big
of
letdown.
them.
Like when I mean, I've met Springsteen probably 4 or 5 times, and have had good conversations with him for at least 3 or 4 of those times, and he's been nothing but genuine and nice and
He's from
gregarious and just just a nice, good, genuine person. And so, thank God, because if it had been something that was the other way, it would have crushed me.
Yeah.
But
I
there have
can
been
see
other people I've met where you think that they're good people, and they're just like, who the hell are you? You know, like, and then you just kind of like lose interest in them.
that. Yeah. For
So,
sure.
but that's great that he was like that. That's really good to hear.
His family's incredible. His wife was so nice, and you know, his daughters are just. I mean, Alexa goes to USC, and she was just like, oh, I'd love to take Kate around and show, because my daughter wants to go to USC, like,
Right.
she can taste it, and you know, they were just really ultra down to earth, easygoing people
Great.
who are super successful.
Now,
And,
was a
it
part
was
of you
amazing.
saying you're talking with hockey with him, and you're going through this and you're discussing it? Is there maybe a little nubbin of you that's saying, maybe he'll offer me a job and I could be his assistant or right hand man,
No.
or some type of like
Not even
contributor
close. No.
or a scout or
I don't know what I could do for that hockey
something.
club. I'm a plastic surgeon who loves hockey. That's it.
No, I get it, but
No, we did talk
I mean,
a while. In
that's
fact,
it.
I mean,
It's a lot.
Peter Rubin did say, he goes, I gotta say, I've been in the room with, Mario Lemieux many, many times, and everybody wants to talk to him. He goes, I've never seen anybody talk to him about hockey for as long as you did. It's just not, it's not something I've ever seen. I don't know whether he does that or not, or.
did he ask for your cell phone in the event that he has a question about a trade?
No, but I did
No?
tell him this. I said, when you come out to California, you come out to the Rock Spa, and we will give you the works. And
Nice.
he was like, really? I was like, yeah, definitely. Hydrofacial, the whole deal.
And
So-
did you say, you get the whole facial and Dr. Hockey Podcast?
I didn't say that at all.
And he said, excuse me? Oh, nothing, Dr. Hockey Podcast.
No, I didn't say Dr. Hockey Podcast once.
You didn't?
No.
Weren't you wearing your Dr. Hockey Podcast jersey I got you?
No, I
You weren't wearing
wasn't.
my jersey.
No. What? I don't even know what I was
Oh,
wearing.
dear.
I can't even remember. I think I had a blue shirt on, actually.
Some random blue shirt, not my jersey.
It's actually more like a Winnipeg colored shirt, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it.
That's terrible.
Ugh. I should have had on, like, my kids were decked in the pen stuff. They had like Crosby.
You should have
jerseys
painted your
on,
face.
so absolutely.
Imagine
At
you
least
having a
Penguin
serious
tattoos.
conversation with Mario Lemieux with a big giant penguin on your forehead. That'd be classic.
That would have been sweet. I think he would have appreciated it.
He
At
might
least
have.
I'm supporting the team.
Hey, Dr. Calver, nice to meet you. Call security.
Yeah, it's like, but you're a
He has
face
a little red
painter.
button underneath the bench and he just pushes that,
Did you ever see the Seinfeld episode
Yes.
with Putty?
Yeah.
But Putty,
Devils!
you're a face painter.
Exactly.
Got to support the team.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, it was amazing. I definitely did not expect it. It was not on the agenda,
Good,
and it came up, and then the Pens won the game 4-0, and it was awesome.
good.
But in terms of the sort
You
of
did,
my
by the way, you did look like kind of like a teenage kid standing next to him.
I know, I'm like a head shorter than him.
But you're that shorter, much shorter than me.
I know, I'm like,
You're
I'm
used to
not
me being
tall.
around, that's the problem. No, but I'm saying, you're saying that he's taller than me, I don't think so. I think you're used to me being around.
I don't know, we'll have to see.
We'll do a height test after here, we'll do a quick.
Maybe we'll get him on the Dr. Hockey podcast and then.
No, with you and me, and you can
Oh.
see, yeah.
Oh, no, I don't wanna do that.
Well, you
right,
think,
Jess?
okay, so he's gonna come on here, and he and I are gonna stand back to back and who's taller?
Yes, that's what I want.
That would be fantastic,
That would be great.
yeah.
Are you gonna wear that Red Wing stuff? 'Cause I don't think
Oh,
he'll
you
come.
bet, I definitely am.
That's probably not gonna happen.
I'm coming with my like big foam finger and everything
Perfect.
else.
Yeah, you know where you can put that finger.
I know,
All right,
Good job, good job.
let's redirect, cause I think that's enough Penguins talk.
Quick rundown
There's a
of what's
lot
going on.
There's a lot of people that are probably like having a hard time right now, and I don't wanna keep drilling it into them that Mario Lemieux, greatest player of all time.
That's an argument
Pound for
to
pound.
discuss.
Pound for pound, game for game. Now, again, he didn't play long enough to have the records that would have had, but.
But I don't base my decision on who's the best player or whether it's on solely just on numbers.
No, I don't know.
That detracts from the game.
Right.
It's a whole, you know, I don't like doing that.
But you could argue then that somebody like a
No, for me, it's Gordie Howe.
Gordie Howe, you know, like.
For me, it's Gordie Howe,
I
that's
was
it.
trying to
It's
I was doing a little bit of math, and
Yeah.
I was like, you could argue Gordie Howe.
No, it's for
greatest
me, it's
player of all
Gordie
time.
Howe, that's it. And I think that if you ask any of the great players, they'll say Gordie Howe.
Yeah, I.
And not out of respect, I think they'll say that because he is the overall, all-around best player. He could mix it up, he would, you know, he didn't need an enforcer on the ice with him.
Nope.
He could, there's so many facets to his game. Granted, it was a different game back in the fifties and sixties,
Yes.
as it was in the seventies and eighties, and into the, now where we are now. So there's a whole, the whole era thing is an argument in and of itself.
Well, and I
but-
think that's why you have to go by the player in his time.
But there's no best defenseman of all time. Some people say it's Lidstrom, I mean, other people say Orr, but there's different, you can't argue someone's opinion. And there's no hard facts that's gonna say someone's the best of this or the best of that. That's, I think, part of the issue, and if you go solely on stats, I think it detracts from the game.
Well, and I think that you're right, but that's why it's important to always bring up the discussion of best, like, okay, how about great at this, great at that, best at whatever, but
Right.
it doesn't make sense to try to elevate somebody as, the god of hockey. That doesn't make sense.
No.
But if I were going to do it, then I would elevate Mario Lemieux. I just have to say,
Say Gordie Howe?
I just wanted to see your face, that's all.
So we're gonna talk a little, general hockey here for a little bit. Dope Smith wants to talk about the Ducks. Well, what's there
Oh
to
my
say?
God.
12 losses in a row.
It's the talk
Last
about
night
the
for the
Ducks.
Wings.
Oh my God, it's so painful.
I mean,
I
listen.
want to talk about the Ducks too.
Well, 12 losses in a row, you can't expect you going to any playoffs.
No,
You
no.
are
12
looking,
losses in a row is a bad sign.
What
It's
you're
a club record for the Ducks.
it is, and what you're looking to do is, over the course of the next 6 weeks before, 6 weeks before the trade deadline, is you're looking to sell. You're
Yes.
literally Duke and Duke, sell, okay? Because someone like a Cam Fowler or someone else is gonna get a big price out there, because you gotta start looking at rebuilding. Getzloff getting towards the end of his career, Kessler should be bought out and shouldn't be playing anymore.
Getzlaf.
Great guy for what he was, but he just can't get on that hip, he has 1 assist in 34 games. Now, I'm not a big stat guy, but if you have.
I am a big stack.
But if you have
That's
a
not
player
good.
of that caliber of Ryan Kessler, and he's not producing, except for 1 point in 34 games, you gotta say, well, what are we gonna do differently that we're looking towards the future of the franchise?
Well, and you see, this is the thing.
And that's not just the Ducks, it's
Yeah.
about anybody, any
No,
team.
there's other teams we could talk about. We can
Sure.
substitute in other names here for.
But
other
they
teams,
need
but-
to look at selling to get draft picks to replace guys like Perry who may not come back. Replace guys like Getzloff when his time is up in the next couple seasons. To replace guys that are gonna be potentially there for the long haul. And listen, whether you wanna build a team around someone like a Cam Fowler or not, fine. But you need to figure out what you're gonna do with selling assets and looking at some of these teams that are on the cusp of playoffs or have a good run to get someone in there that's gonna be able to come in and make a difference for them to put them over the top.
Well, I agree 100%. I mean, the Ducks right now just look like they are in shambles. And,
Yeah.
And then last night, Silverberg and Kessler went out to the IR.
And Bruins fan 10,000, as most of there were 9,999 other Bruins fans on Instagram. Will Coyotes make the playoffs even with injuries? I didn't think the Coyotes were ever making the playoffs even without injuries.
I think the Coyotes have played well this year, but they are not playoff bound.
Okay, Sean keeps yelling at me to put the microphone in front of my mouth. Sean, I'm literally about to deep throat this microphone. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can.
What does that
I'll give
mean?
you a lesson in how to hold your microphone after the show.
Oh, no, I'm not looking forward to that. Don't tell me how to hold my own microphone.
Listen, all I'm gonna tell
Very
you is
personal.
that the Coyotes,
Doing the best I can here, man.
the Coyotes.
Come on.
Do we have to talk about this?
He
Can we
wants to
just-
show me how to hold my microphone. I will not let him do that.
You need a lesson in microphone.
Dad!
So that's it. It's enough.
Dad, he's talking about my microphone.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah, well,
I feel harassed. So
I-
this is the thing.
I
I
don't
to-
think the Coyotes. Okay, yes, they're playing good for the Coyotes,
But they're not playoff.
but they're not a playoff team.
No way.
They weren't at the beginning of the season. They weren't any part of the season. But they're showing signs of life, which they haven't in the last couple seasons.
It's true, and I thought at the beginning of the season that they may have a run in them, but they don't. I knew the Ducks. I knew the wheels were going to come off at
Yeah.
some point. The Ducks, I knew were not.
The Corey Perry injury in the beginning was.
It was it. It was
the
the
omen.
kiss of death.
Yes.
And then and the Kessler surgery.
Yeah.
The Kessler surgery, and
Well, but he
You know,
needs,
it's just-
he
it's no
needs,
good.
he needs hip replacement, my guess is, I'm not his doctor, I'm just assuming based on what we talked about. And once he does that, he's done.
we need Snibby back in here.
We need to be back in here.
For sure.
Stat.
I think the teams that are really looking strong for the playoffs right now, that are not quite, that don't have solid footing for the playoffs, I think the Dallas Stars could
I was just gonna say
potentially get
Dallas.
there. Dallas looks like they're really gunning for it.
Now, do you think that Light's comments did quote, light a fire under Ben and Sagan? I mean, they're playing better.
They are playing.
Okay.
First of all, Jamie Ben's like an amazing forward. And this guy, he's just a beast.
But-
He
but-
is strong, but he should be scoring way
But
more.
but based on the comments that he made about them, and as much as they're gonna say in public, they're gonna wanna diffuse the situation, we don't play for him, we play for our fans and our guys and our teammates in our room, or whatever they wanna say, behind closed doors, like, who the F does this guy think he is to call us out like this in public and blah, 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 blah. You know that happened.
I think all we need is an Uber driver and a camera. We should be able to find that out.
It's like in the movie Major League, when the owner didn't want them to succeed, and they were peeling off pieces of their clothing, remember, as the season went on, every win they got?
Yes.
Do you think there's a cardboard cutout of Jim Lights in the Dallas Stars locker room with articles of, pieces of Velcro clothing, they're peeling away of him naked or in a G-string or something?
I hope not.
I hope not either,
I
but it's
don't think so.
possible.
Yeah, I don't think so. I
We
think
wanna
that-
know, pull the curtain back here, Dallas
Yeah.
Stars, let us know.
Let's get somebody on from the Stars.
Yeah,
But I do think the Stars are playoff bound.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think they're doing very well.
Another team that's, I think, I wouldn't say a dark horse, and I guess, I hate to say this because they're having a good season, is Calgary. But is Calgary having a good season because the other teams in the division stink?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
They're playing well, don't get me wrong. But you look at the rest of the teams, they're just garbage. Even San Jose is not doing what everyone thought.
They are starting to now.
Well, but
They are gelling.
January,
I know, but they are gelling in a big way. They finally figured out where Evander Kane fits, which was a big problem. He's a great
Alright.
player. They finally
You
figured
talk
out
about a
that
team
Timo
that's
Meyer
stacked.
is one of the top guys in the NHL.
Right.
That's right, you heard it here first.
oh, I'm not,
I
I'm
said it
not
last
disputing
year.
that, but I'm saying, but the team is stacked. And Carlson was the
Stacked.
cherry on top.
Yes.
And they're, I mean, listen, it's not.
They were stacked last year.
Well, not as.
Not as, but they this year it's coming together.
No.
Couture's playing
I know
great for
Shaw
them.
was
He's
gonna,
having a career
get
season.
excited, although I've never seen him once wear an article of San Jose Sharks clothing.
I wore it last month.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think
I didn't see anything
the
happen.
Sharks are a sick team for the playoffs.
Well, there could be a dark horse there, but,
I do. I think they're trouble.
have
And
you
I think,
changed your, pick at all since,
Tampa Bay's winning the cup.
okay.
Sorry. I mean, I know they're the favorite, but I called them They were my number 2 favorite last year. They're my favorite this year. I think that they have the best chance at winning the cup from the West. I think it's
Okay, let me ask you
Winnipeg,
this
the
question
Sharks,
then.
Vegas Golden Knights, and Predators coming down to the final. And out of those, right now, if you had to say who's gonna take it, unfortunately, this week, and it changes, but I'm still gonna go with Winnipeg. But the Predators have made some significant changes, and they are playing very well.
My friend Lori just moved to Nashville, and she said a lot of the people there are trying to convert her from being a Wings fan to a Predators fan. She said
No
she won't
chance,
do it.
that won't happen.
No, and I told her, I said, they don't understand.
No way, that is not a
That's not gonna
possible
happen.
conversion.
Good, that's what I told her.
No way.
But is there a team that you think right now is out of the playoffs that has it in them to make a run to become a playoff team?
That's a good question. I mean, there are some trades that
Because
could happen, so yeah, I can tell you.
Before you answer that question, I'm gonna pull up right now, because I have the NHL app on my phone. I'm gonna pull up the actual playoff teams right now. Okay, and then anybody who's not in that list, you tell me if they have a chance to make a run. So let me pull them
Well,
up
I'm
here.
just trying to, I mean, I think I have a visual of who's in
Standings.
it.
Edmonton.
Edmonton is one that could make a playoff run. They don't stand a chance to do well.
Okay,
They
so
could-
here's in the East, your playoff teams are from the Atlantic, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Boston.
Yeah,
Metropolitan, Columbus,
definitely.
wow, they're in first
Well,
place.
Columbus is on fire.
Washington,
Artemi Panarin.
And the Islanders, okay, and the 2 wild cards are Montreal and Pittsburgh. All right, so, in the West, Winnipeg, Nashville, Dallas, from the Central, Pacific, Calgary, San Jose, and Vegas, and then the wild cards are Colorado, Minnesota. So, I know who I would say, but I wanna see who you think. Do you think a Buffalo or Carolina has a chance to replace anybody in the wild card or in the division? Or do you have a feeling that possibly in Edmonton or Vancouver has a chance? Because there's no way Anaheim, St. Louis, Arizona, Chicago, or the Kings have a chance in hell.
Okay, so here's my thing, in the East, I definitely, things have been shaking up a lot. The All-Star break will provide some time for these guys to get together and talk about shuffling
Right.
things before the trade deadline.
Right.
So that weekend is really important. With proper shuffling, with proper trades and movement of the power aspect of Buffalo. 'Cause
Right.
they're doing very well. They're missing some things.
They've fallen though. They were.
They have
like-
fallen, but because the other teams have pulled together and they're moving on.
Okay.
I think Buffalo's playing right now as well as they
Where
have.
they should.
This is who came out of the gates for them.
Okay.
If they can make a few key trades, I'm just trying to think who they can move. I'm not sure who they can move. This is like a Pat Brisson question.
Because they made all these
We need
moves.
Pat.
We do. Okay,
Because
we always need Pat.
because
by the
he-
way.
he knows
We
this
always
stuff.
need Pat here. But
He can tell you who can go where and
But
when, and
Buffalo
that's
made,
can happen.
Buffalo made preseason moves,
They
like
did.
getting Skinner and everything else.
Skinner's
They
been
were-
playing great.
He's great, of course he is, but
He's playing
what else
great.
do they need? Do they need defense?
They need more D, and they
So why not
probably
make a
need.
trade, why not make a trade with,
I think they need another,
with
like a
Anaheim.
third or fourth line, like they need a decent center.
okay, so I would tell you this, that from a Red Wings perspective, what they should do is they should trade Darren Helm. Darren Helm is a very good third line
Great player.
center.
Yeah.
Okay,
no,
third,
he's a
fourth
great
line
player,
center.
Yeah.
He's outstanding on the penalty kill, okay? And I think he'd pull in some great picks for someone, he's playing much better right now. Gustav Nyquist from the Wings.
Yeah, he's
Great trade.
great.
Yeah, I think he has like 32 points at this point. He's doing really, really well. Or 32 assists, I think, or something like that. But these are guys that are out there that are potential trade bait that I think the Wings should absolutely trade them and get what they can from them.
Yeah.
And a team like Buffalo on the cusp
could
could
use
use
Nyquist.
offensive help, could use a Nyquist, or use the Helm,
Helm would be nice.
who's a great penalty killer.
Yeah. So I think Buffalo is the team from the East that could replace one of those teams.
I would agree with that. I think that they're the only team, I don't know about Carolina, I don't think the Rangers have it in them, and then after that, it's the Devils, Wings,
No, No.
Florida Flyers,
No.
and Ottawa, which none of those teams are making the playoffs.
no.
As much as it pains me, it's just not gonna happen. So,
In the West, I think it's Edmonton, if I had to guess, any team that's gonna replace anybody there, it'd have to be.
Now, I think the team that would falter is Colorado, because after that top line, they're not necessarily, they're a different team after that, except from that top line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that would be the team I'd pick from the West. That's
They're
gonna
not that deep.
replace somebody.
That's the problem, they're not
The
that
Ducks
deep.
aren't doing anything at this point.
No, the Ducks are done.
They're on life support right now. They need CPR.
12
They
losses
need
in a row
vitamin
and
D.
falling.
They need something. They need testosterone.
Tom
They
Petty
need
said they're
something.
free falling.
They are free falling. They are 12 games lost in a row. That isn't good.
Sean wants to know about the controversy with Bobrovsky. Now, I was in Hawaii, so I can't really comment, I wasn't really paying attention as much. I'll let you.
Do we have
field
to?
it.
Do we have to talk about that now? That's a John Blue episode.
All right.
I do want to take that on a John Blue episode. That's a good one for him. Yeah.
Sean's forced me on my mic, and he's also forced me to ask questions, so.
Well, I'll teach you about your mic later, like I said.
No!
Basically, it was just.
I need an adult,
Bobrovsky gets pulled, and
Yeah,
then
no,
he goes straight to the locker room and straight to the shower instead of sitting on the bench and taking his medicine for the
Yeah,
rest
no,
of the game.
he definitely. We need to talk to John Blue about that because that
That was a
an
very
odd-
Patrick Law move almost.
Well,
Remember when he went over to the bench after the Wings gave him a drubbing of 7 goals?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't pull him out, he said, that was my last game in Montreal.
and that was it. He got
That was
traded.
it, his last game in Montreal.
Gone. Yeah, he left.
I
Yeah.
think the language he used was a little more colorful, probably.
Colorful.
And maybe maybe said it in French, which would have probably sounded a lot more romantic,
We.
but, either way.
Speaking of romantic,
Oh. Is it time? All right, it's time for the gifts. Hold on, Sean. Do you want to tell us about these gifts? All right, so we're gonna hold on. We have the All Star coming up soon.
Gifts.
So
I didn't get you guys gifts.
no, we have. Yeah, these are gifts from Lauren. Were these holiday gifts, Lauren?
Yeah, they're like
we just
belated
haven't been
holiday.
together. So these are belated holiday gifts. This one for me. All right, great.
Should we open them
Should we
now?
open them now?
Yeah.
All right, great. These are, okay, sorry, we have to take a little minute from hockey here to open our holiday gifts, which,
Just what I wanted.
what'd you
The
get
Mia
there?
Khalifa calendar.
No way. Thank you.
That's awesome.
You know what I thought these were gonna be, even though this is amazing? We're happy to have the Mia Khalifa calendar. Did everybody get one?
It's like Mia's right
Yes.
here next to us. We gotta get
go
her
to
back.
my
in.
month.
All right, there it is. Now,
That's a good one.
Now, wait a second. Our viewers can't see that. There are kids watching this.
No, there's nothing
I'm
showing.
just saying, that's very racy, Sean. So these are available too, I think, on her website. But yeah, these are great. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Friend of the
$500 a
pod.
month.
Friend of the pod. Have to support her.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We do have to support.
No, it's awesome.
That's great.
Mia, we need you to come, please come back in. We want you to come back in and hang
For
out with us
sure.
and talk some hockey. It's been too
These
long.
are great. Fantastic.
Oh, and Mia's birthday's in February 10th. She has it marked off with a cupcake on it.
Well, there you go. Fantastic. February 10th.
I'm
So,
gonna stay in February for a few minutes. No, Mia, we love you. Please come back in. We miss you. It's been a long time since you were here, and we want to talk
yeah,
about
we
get your thoughts on
definitely need
some
to get
hockey.
her in studio when
Yes,
we do this.
yes.
So, we are.
Thank you, Lauren.
Lauren, thank you
Yeah.
for the.
Thank you, Lauren.
In all seriousness,
My
I
calendar
appreciate
with-
this gift very much.
Uh-huh.
But you know what I thought it was going to be?
camera
died.
I swear to God, I thought it was going to be the pictures of Sean's face.
Oh,
Things. It was going to be a calendar.
so for those of you who don't know,
Sean.
for those of you who don't know, I
That would have been awesome.
found a face swapping app online.
I thought it was going to be the
And
face swap
basically-
apps of Sean.
You have so much new material though to put Sean on now.
I got
Yes,
a
I'll
face-
look much better.
It was a face swapping app I found online, and I swapped Sean, our producer's face, onto numerous different scenarios, which were
Sean is a
increasingly
handsome guy,
funny.
but he looks very noticeable.
One of
As
them was
Caitlyn
a,
Jenner.
Oh my
one of them was
goodness.
a,
I can't even look at that.
as Caitlyn Jenner. The other one was of a 14-year-old girl with pigtails.
My
That's
favorite
terrible.
was the Hallmark card.
The other one was right, a Hallmark card with a little, like a little heart.
Yeah,
It was.
that's what I thought this was going to be,
Yeah.
but this is much better because actually I can look at this.
Yes, I feel the same way.
Very good.
So, getting back to hockey real quick.
Can we?
I can't. We're good.
I still am sticking by my pick of Toronto to go all the way. And, you can say all you want based on the numbers and stats, but that's why they play the games. And, you know, it might be the President's Trophy curse that hits Tampa Bay. You know,
Definitely. I
You never
mean,
know what's gonna happen. Injuries can happen, Kucherov could just go down or something like that, God forbid, but you never know what's gonna happen with this. I just think that, you know, the way things are looking still, I have no reason to change my pick. But I do think that there's gonna be a team, and I think it's gonna be either Buffalo or Edmonton is gonna make the playoffs, and whoever's in contention now is not gonna be there come April, May.
I agree. I mean, I think to think.
This will
Tampa
not, in
Bay-
other words, this will not be our playoff lineup as it is
Definitely
today.
not. No, it won't. And I also don't think, just because we think Tampa Bay is winning the cup.
You think Tampa Bay's winning the cup?
Well, I do.
Yes, don't say
because-
we.
No, I know, you think it's Toronto. I do think that there are other teams that can take out. Tampa
100%
Bay,
agree,
for sure.
absolutely, that's why they play the games.
Yeah, it's awesome. If it
Yeah.
were a shoo-in, you let them, grind it out and finish up. But
Right.
this is gonna be a great playoff season.
I agree.
I think there's some great hockey going on.
Well,
I'm excited.
As we get closer to the trade deadline, which is coming up, I think it's February 26th, 27th, something like that, we're gonna see some teams scrambling, and it'd be really, really interesting to see what moves are made, because there, like I said, there are some teams, now again, this could go to backfire, and as I'm sure everybody listening could tell you, there are teams that have done very well from a chemistry perspective, they pull in a ringer, and the team falls apart.
What about her
And-
team?
The Caps?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if they have the stamina to go a distance. I mean, this is-
Shahab asked, what about Mia's team? The Capitals, I think, are definitely they are definitely in contention, but.
So, all right, well, you're,
We'll wrap back up and
we'll
we'll
wrap it
come
up.
back around on this, next, when are we gonna be back on? We'll be back in about a week to talk about this.
yeah, we'll see what's going on then, and have a very, very good week, my friend.
I will, and, we got the All-Star break coming up very shortly. We'll be excited for that weekend.
Yep.
And then we've got some big